Well, welcome back to the WhenIHeardThis podcast. My name is Nate Robinsoff, and I'm here with Pastor Dr. Joseph Tillman D. Min Jr. How are you today, sir?
There you go. That's the question I'm looking for. I'm doing great, man.
Cool.
Yeah, we're just talking about missionaries once again.
Yes.
And it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And then missions trips.
Oh, yeah. Then we're going to do mission trips. And then we're going to talk about our mission trips even, like, are they necessary? Are they good? Do they cause more harm than they help?
Ooh.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Cool.
I've got thoughts on those guys, too. So
Good. Because missions trips aren't like missionaries. It's
No.
like, hey, let's get a bunch of whoever we want and send them somewhere to do
whatever.
nothing. Or
Well,
or a lot of whatever.
and we're going to talk about that, too. Some of them really do go, and it's like a vacation kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like, what the trash
Yeah.
did we just send money to people for?
Right.
So, yeah. And we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Says the guy does mission trips a few times a year.
Right.
But anyway, we'll talk.
It's all a grift
Yeah.
for Christ.
Well, hopefully not all of it. Hopefully not all of it. But there's definitely some that are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. More missionaries. Read the ad again.
All right, man. Before we get started today with our questions, we want to shout out our sponsor, the Discipleship Group. The Discipleship Group is a systematic training for Christians who want to go deeper and grow stronger in their relationship with God. In these courses, Dr. Jay Zen brings you over 4 decades of study, pastoring, and teaching to equip the saints to make disciples. The Discipleship Group is a series of 6 books, each book consisting of 26 weeks. Therefore, it's 3 years of study. Each week has articles written by the author to read, a chapter from a supplemental book like The Passion for God or More Than a Carpenter, The Master Plan of Evangelism, and there's scripture readings each week from the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Psalms. I've used the Discipleship Group resources for over a decade. I've used them in groups of 2 to 3 people. I've used them in small groups up to 12 people. And I can tell you, as a pastor, as someone who spends a lot of time making disciples and meeting with others, that the Discipleship Group resources are the best that I have found for growing in our faith and for encouraging us to go and make disciples ourselves. Go to discipleshipgroup.com, check out their resources, find out information about Dr. J, and I'm telling you, you will not regret it.
That never gets old.
No,
The way you say that.
it just flows.
Yep.
Yep, I know.
Go to Patreon.
Please go there. Support
$5.
us. Yep.
Why should people do that?
Because they want to, because man, you give $5, you're supporting us, you're encouraging us, you're making us want to keep going, keep doing this thing.
Mhm.
That's why.
Keep pounding the table
Yes, sometimes.
to make editing harder later.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I watched the episode.
You're paying for my extra editing time at this point.
I watched the episode of The Office where Jim has Dwight read all those. Dwight's gonna give a speech, and Dwight's gotta he's gotta give a speech at this convention, and so Jim gives him all of these great speeches from history, but it's all speeches by dictators. And he tells Dwight he's got to pound the podium as he speaks. So I'm sorry, I kind of went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
Cool. All right, our website. Do that one now.
Yeah, go to our website. Man, we've got shirts, we've got hoodies, we've got hats, we've got mugs, we got merch, just everywhere. It's just awesome.
Yes.
Yes, please go there.
All right.
Yep.
Why should people get on Facebook?
Because on Facebook, man, you see our reels. You can go to our episodes. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, follow us, like, subscribe. Well, subscribe wouldn't be on Facebook. But anyway, like, follow.
Subscribe to YouTube through
Yeah.
Facebook
Yeah, you can
with
subscribe.
the button,
That's true.
which is where you can find the episodes.
That's very true.
Or you can just listen to the audio version
Yeah,
on other places.
right.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah. Yeah. So we're everywhere, man.
Yeah.
We're everywhere. We're
Except
safe.
if you only listen to the audio version, you don't get to look at us.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about that the other day.
Half the point.
Yeah, I was talking about someone the other day. They were like, they only can like really listen to us because they're listening to us on their travels.
Yeah.
Like while they travel to work, and so he was like, I just wish I could see y'all's expressions, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
So watch on YouTube or Rumble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you got to listen to us just on audio,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
that's fine too.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
First question.
Okay.
how do missionaries get paid?
Okay.
Like, there's 2 steps to this question.
Okay.
So where do missionaries get the money
Okay.
to do missionary stuff?
Okay.
But then also, do they get paid like a salary
Okay.
on top of all of their expenses being paid by
Right.
somebody else?
Right.
Or how's all that work?
Okay.
Like, how do they build wealth and pass it on to future generations of missionaries?
Well, okay. So,
right?
Yeah. They're not just building wealth. All right. Anyways. All right. Yeah. So again, I talked about this a little bit last week. So the historical kind of way that it's been done is that missionaries raise their own support. Okay. So in other words, people give to them and they're usually going through a mission agency. That's kind of what became like the norm within the 20th century missionary movement. Okay. Like where you just had individuals and they were going off into third world countries and they needed support from, usually individuals are leaving, America or Europe, going to third world countries. It was kind of the way it was being done in the 20th century. And so in most of the 20th century. And so therefore they were raising funds from friends, from church family members, or church members from family members, those kind of things. And they were generally joining a missionary organization. So,
So who pays the missionary organization?
Yeah, so that's where people would send their money to. Okay? So like people are sending money to Operation Mobilization or YWAM or,
what?
Youth with a Mission is what YWAM stands for.
Oh.
There's all these mission agencies, okay? And so it's that people are being sent through. So the denominations have their own mission agencies within the denomination. Okay. So the Methodists had their mission agency, Southern Baptist and the Southern Baptist Convention have their own mission agency. And so that's where individuals are sending money to, they would designate for this person, right? And so that money would go toward that person. And usually there's some there's some like collaboration between the agency and the missionary and where they're going, what they're going to be doing in terms of how much funds do they receive for their livelihood, for their living expenses, and then how much funds are for actual like missionary quote unquote endeavors, if they needed supplies or whatever it may be for their mission work. And so,
need more Bibles.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
In Swahili.
That could be a thing. And so...
Stat.
Right. And so you have all of that. So again, that's kind of like the historical way that it was happening throughout most of the 20th century. And then toward, I would say probably in the last, I don't know, really last like maybe 15 years or so, there's been a little bit of a shift away, not necessarily away from that, but maybe added on to that, of another model of where individuals go to other countries as missionaries, they work to raise funds, and that's how they make their livelihood.
Okay.
It's through the funds that are being raised. And then in some places, you've got a combination of both, right? They're receiving funds from, they're raising support here in the States, or they're raising support in England, for example, wherever they may be from. They're raising support there. But then they're also working some job, there, but it may not be enough to support everything they're doing.
So the missions agency opens businesses so that people can actually work and have a job.
They can do that. They don't necessarily do that.
So do they bring work there in the form of other missionaries, or do they hire local people?
Okay, now that's a great question. So you have a combination of both.
Okay.
Right. So in other words, the mission agencies, you're going through a mission agency, and so you're going to their field in this country, right? And so that's what they call it. They're like their missionary field, right? So they're going to their field, they're going to their base, and you're going there to serve. Now, in some mission agencies, the people that are there in those bases, generally speaking, are locals.
Okay.
Okay. In others, they may not be. It may be a mix of locals and internationals. And then in some places, it's like almost all Westerners.
Okay. So if
or internationals broadly, because I want to make sure I say this, that, other countries now besides countries found in Europe or in, North America are sending missionaries as well.
Okay. So if I, under the guise of missionary, go open up a shop somewhere.
Okay.
Who gets the profits of said shop? Is it the people that sponsored me to initial
Yeah, so if you're making
what?
Yeah. So if you're making money there, right? Like,
yeah.
let's say that you had
Is it my shop or is it whoever sponsored me to missionary's shop?
I got you. No, it would be your shop in the sense of, because that's if you've established that, right? It's different than like a financial backing from, so let's say here in America, right? I started up a business. Okay, I'm going to have initial investors. The initial investors are going to get a percentage return back. Okay?
So all business could be under the guise of missionary and we could not pay taxes. Basically.
No, I mean,
that's how we should set this up. We messed up. We shouldn't have been a whatever we did,
right?
And we should be a missions agency and not have to pay any taxes.
Yeah, that doesn't really work.
And then we could pay ourselves all the money.
Right, that doesn't really work here.
All the money that
right.
We make.
I don't. Yeah, that's not going to really fly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It could though.
I mean, there's.
I had to go downstairs.
Yeah, there.
all the way.
For Christ. And. Anyway, all right. So
I'm just confused.
I know
this is confusing.
So no, I say no. So in another. All right, you got me all thrown off too. All right, going into another country. Let's say that I'm my goal is to start up my own shop so that I can make my livelihood. People are going to financially give toward that without expecting a percentage back in return. Okay. So they'll give. Okay.
So now I keep all the profits,
and then
business.
Once it's up and running and can sustain itself, and you and your family, your livelihood, your ministry, that's there for you.
So it's more like I'm just connected to a church that knows I'm here doing this for this reason.
Correct. Yeah. Whether through your church or whether through the denominational mission agency or whether it's through a interdenominational mission agency.
Friends and family just helped me move to another country, essentially. And do exactly what I was doing in my home country, except there.
Yes. That can be one way to go about missions and having support, that way you don't have to raise as much continual support here in the States.
So the way it used to be, how did some of these missionaries had kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
So were they not leaving anything down to their children?
No.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
Isn't
that rude?
Well, I mean, basically, that's part of the sacrifice, right?
Yeah, but your kids are making a sacrifice.
Oh, 100% they are. Now,
but that's not fair to them.
Well, but the family the family signed up for it. Is the best way I can phrase that.
The whole family,
yeah,
including the baby.
They were signed up for it, right? Now, and obviously, maybe didn't have a say so, and the kids often don't have a say so. But it's like this is what
I don't
we're
know
doing.
If you know, but this is personal.
I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I'm supposed to be speaking Spanish right now. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
And live in a hellhole.
Right. And I think that's, again, a lot.
And that's not me being racist. That's being anti-communist. Wink. It was Venezuela.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
And
or socialists or whatever they want to call
themselves. Yeah, whatever they want to call themselves. Yeah. So I get it. And Yeah, the I mean, you're right, and I think that's kind of the thing. It's like, I mean, families they sacrifice to go down there to be supported, not have a great wage, of living, that kind of thing, but enough to sustain themselves to make it. And one of the challenging things is when missionaries come back home.
Okay.
Like, let's say their time in the mission field ends, they come back home after a decade, several decades, whatever it is. They come back home, and now they're having to kind of start from the ground up here. Now, some mission agencies actually make you take a percentage of what you get and put it into savings.
Oh.
So that you do have something on the backside, or that you can put in, into an IRA or whatever it may be.
I mean, okay, right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so there are agencies that do plan for those kind of things. Okay. To help the missionary on the other side of their mission service or in coming back, and so that's built in and there for some agencies, but not for all of them.
Okay.
And for a long time, missionaries just raised their funds, and man, they were just making with what they had, and there was no real plan for the future.
Okay, so how do you marry together the calling to be a missionary and make no money, build your wealth, and drag your whole family with you, with wanting to honor and do what's best for your family?
Yeah.
Like, why is bringing my children to some other country where they're not going to speak the language and know nothing at 13 years old or whenever we decide to do it?
Sure.
Why is that's not good for the kid?
Maybe. Or it may be good for the kid.
Okay.
So I guess I've heard the stories both ways, right? Like, I've heard the stories of the missionary kids that are like, man, that was a disaster for us. Like, I hated being out of the country.
Right.
And then you hear the other stories of, that was incredible. That was awesome. And now, like, all of the kids are missionaries.
Okay.
Because they fell in love with it. And they don't want to, actually, I know some came back to the States to get their college education and could not wait to get back onto the mission field.
So why would God call somebody to do missionary work with children if he knows that the kids are going to hate it and have no choice in the matter?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question.
I mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know if that's a lot of,
because it's not like the kids made this decision.
Right. But it's like, all right, and I get that, and I get the fact that, but that happens beyond just missionary world too, though, right? Like a military family that moves around, all the time. We may say, well, that's not fair to the kids, or you've got a job that just, dictates that you have to move around often because of the job, or even, hey, if it, for this promotion, you've got to go live in this other country. Like, that's part of it. So I don't know if, what I'm saying is, I don't know if it's unique to missionaries and their kids.
Right, but it's unique because God told them to.
Okay.
Instead of them making the decision to do it.
Right.
Right?
Or, yes, but I think oftentimes the parent would say, and I get what you're saying, like, that it may be a difference between, like, God call, but I think there's a lot of individuals that I feel like God, called me to be in the military, and therefore and I know what I'm signing up for when I do that,
Right.
And so all I'm saying is, I think it's not just unique to missionaries, but I do understand what you're saying, because especially from a kid's perspective, and I think maybe this is what you're getting to.
Right.
From a child's perspective, I can look at, for example, the military and be like, well, the government made us go live here or go live there.
Right.
Right. Whereas the missionary, it can be, man, God did this. Like, God made us go to this country and it was awful. Or, I had to leave all my friends and I didn't want to. I mean, those things are real.
Right. But it's like, I guess from an American's perspective, like, all of the opportunity to do things here.
Right.
And it's like, you're basically saying that my only future opportunities for the time being are getting to know, building anything for myself from 13 to 18 while I'm stuck in some country with you is being a missionary. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think most would say it's beyond just being a missionary or even just a missionary's kid. Like, there's a lot of individuals I've talked to that served on the mission field with their parents, and I'll say they served because they were there too, right? Like,
right.
with their parents on the mission field, and they had great experiences of getting to learn another language, of getting to, interact with people, and so some of them really, really do enjoy it. But I understand what you're saying. There are those that would say, no, that was it. I did not like it. I did not enjoy it.
It just seems like from the parent's perspective, like you're not setting your child up for success.
Okay. I guess I would say this. This is what I would say. If I really believe to the core of my being that I am following the will of the Lord,
okay,
I have to trust that the Lord is going to care, protect, and provide for my kids. Now, I know that it doesn't always look that way or seem to even happen always that way. I mean, like, calling it for what it is. But if I believe that core of my heart, I have to trust that they're going to take care of my kids. Like,
okay.
the Lord's going to take care of my kids. And that whatever the Lord intends for them in their future will be available to them. And maybe not in spite of what we're doing as missionaries, but maybe because of what we're doing as missionaries.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess
that was a good answer, I suppose.
I guess I just trust the Lord enough to be able to handle those things for the kids.
Okay.
Yeah. Says the pastor who
right.
does the same thing with his kids. Like when we've had to move churches or whatever. And you just trust the Lord is going to care for them.
Well, yeah, but sometimes you got to get a different job.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean give up your job and your whole life and somewhere and
yep. All I'm saying is all I'm saying is though it's the same dynamic, because when I as a pastor change churches, often it's not just Joseph decided to change a church, it's I'm saying I felt like the Lord told me to go here.
Okay.
Right? And
well,
so the
respectfully, as your 13-year-old child, I feel like the Lord is not calling me to do that. So right. I'm going to live with Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah. And I think what I'm getting to is in both cases, it's like you're putting the Lord on the hook for it. From the kid's perspective, right? The kids are looking at it going, why did God make us move here?
Right.
Right. And I think that what I have discovered is that we have to trust the Lord over the long haul with our children, not just in those immediate moments or even immediate years, but what is it for the long haul that I trust that the Lord is working this out for their good as well.
Okay, so what is the day-to-day of a missionary?
Oh man.
I think I'm realizing that I'm looking at this as like it's a job.
Yeah.
Instead of just some nebulous position that God calls you to do. Right. You're just going to go here. Oh, okay. Yeah. And there'll be, cause I was reading the it's that book that all of this is the Bible. And, and Jesus would tell the disciples, He was just like, yeah, hop on some donkeys and go over and there'll be a guy standing outside a hut, and he'll give you like $60, and then you're going to go to this inn, and they just have to trust. They leave with no food and no water and a donkey, and they have to just trust that Jesus is telling the truth.
Donkeys into this, whatever. Okay, yeah,
but that's what he did.
Yes,
yeah, and he's like, hey, you're going to get 2 mules from this guy, and then it's like a fetch quest that Jesus gives the disciples, and that's what this is like. It's like, just go wander, and I'm thinking of it as like it's a job.
Right. Well, I mean...
Like, hey, you're going to go clock in, and then you're going
to... And again, it can go either way with that, right?
Go save some souls.
Like, it could be you're going and clocking in, or it could be that the clocking in looks very different from day to day, depending on what's going on.
Okay.
Right? Like, so, yeah. I think it could be, I think it just covers the gamut of that.
It's like there's going to be a revolution next week, so
right, buckle up.
So next week might look a little different.
Right. Those are true things. Yes. So yeah.
You see our chart of animosity of the locals towards government.
It's rising.
Yeah.
You may need to get out.
Anyway, so yeah.
So what do they do day to day?
Yeah, what do they do all day?
Yeah. I do think that's the thing, like, that you just kind of alluded to. Like, there are some that as missionaries, they're going to go in and they have a job, and that's what they are going to do that, like a regular job.
Mm-hmm.
And there's others that are, it depends on what they're doing, but I know some, and they go into other, countries, and maybe they serve as tutors in English, and so to help, kids or other adults learn English. So that may be part of what they're doing. So that may be sprinkled in their schedule. Hey, they serve as a tutor for this, or
so westernization.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
No. But it's a big thing. Like, there's a demand from a lot of places is we want to learn English. And so not just because of, and it's somewhat of a westernization in the sense of, because that's become the global language, right? That is kind of spoken, if you were, globally.
Right.
And so in some countries, to be able to go to university requires that you know English, that you can speak English.
Right.
So, that's and it's kind of crazy to me that in other countries, they would actually require that, but that is a requirement, in some countries. And so
America,
yeah, everywhere. And,
because we created it.
But, so it could look really different. I know some that go and serve as soccer coaches, and all that kind of stuff, whether on a professional level or whether on a rec level.
I don't know why we're doing that. They're better at that stuff than we are. Like, what?
Yes, for some that's the case. For others, it's not. Some of you have really good soccer players here who go to other places, and that's kind of their end.
Soccer for Christ.
Right. There you go. I think that's actually a thing, actually.
Really?
I think so.
No way.
Yeah. I think so. Yahweh.
Is conquering?
Sorry. Good it was.
It was Joseph's turn. Conquering for Christ. Has anyone done that one yet?
I don't think that. No, that website's not taken. Yeah.
No way. Cool. So they do a lot of random stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
And because it can be I know missionaries literally their job in the mornings is to help bring the food that's going to be cooked for breakfast for the kids in the schools. And so it could be that in the morning, and it could be something else in the afternoon, and
Oh, that's why you said that.
So
cooking with Christ.
Cooking. it's
cooking for Christ.
Cooking for Christ. It's a thing. So.
Oh.
All right. Anyways, yeah, I just think there's, depending on what the missionary is doing, it can be a pretty large, gamut of things they're covering.
Okay.
So, yeah. Or could be doing.
How do missionaries decide which area of the world needs Christ the most? And so they decide to go there.
Yeah.
And how do they decide to go someplace but neglect all the other people
in the
other places that need Christ?
Yeah. I think there's, usually speaking, there's some kind of exposure to an area, and that's what draws people to that area. So what I mean by that is maybe they go on a short-term mission trip to Brazil.
Oh.
And so now Brazil is where they want to go to serve as a missionary.
That doesn't sound like God's calling you. It sounds like you want to do it.
Or it could be the Lord set all that up. You just never know. So so you've had an exposure that way, or you've had an exposure to something like you heard a missionary speak, or you heard a lecture about some country, or whatever it may be, and it sparks this interest, and you're like, oh, wow, I want to go serve there. Another thing could be, hey, I heard about this problem that exists in the world, and you go, I want to be a part of, I feel the Lord leading me to help with this. And so then you find out, well, where is it that I can go to help with that. Or maybe you connect with a mission organization. Like, this is my heart. I want to help with this. And they go, awesome. We've got these couple of locations here. And one may be in Africa, one may be in Asia. And you begin to prayerfully decide, or maybe even visit the places and then decide, which location to go to. So I think oftentimes that's why I say there's either an exposure to an area or an exposure to a need that's happening in the world, and you want to connect with that need.
Why does the church consider missionaries like better than everybody else?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Because that really can be the case.
Yes.
Like you have Missionary Sunday or Missionary Weekend, and
it's like, oh, they're coming back to say hello and eat some French fries real quick.
Right.
And,
hey, I'm going to Colombia, and man, their French fries are awesome.
They have French fries?
Oh, yeah. They serve, it's wild. They serve French fries with everything. Like you order almost anything.
Aren't they called something different?
Yeah. Papa Frias.
Yes.
Papa Frias.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like how it's Papas Fritas here in America. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah. But
that always throws me off when people do that. Hawaii. Like, why? Just say Hawaii. Like, why do you have to do that? It's like on the phone when they say your name. They're like, I'm sorry, Nate couldn't pick up the phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I had to do this promotional video for Colombia. Like they just wanted me to do a 30-second little intro to people coming. And right. So I'm doing it in Spanish, and I was showing it to my kids, and I was like, "Hey, listen to this," and they're listening to it, and my daughter was like, "Why do you say your name different than the rest?" Because it's I'm talking in Spanish, and then I just go Joseph Tillman. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing, right?
Pastor Joseph Tillman.
Right. Yeah,
it's all monotone.
Yeah, and so when I did the same thing. I'm talking, I'm saying I'm a pastor, and I go Atlanta, Georgia. And I just bring all accent drops, and it's just
Yeah.
So I don't know why we do that, but we and I need to be better about that.
Yeah. Anyway, so why are why are missionaries so exalted?
Yeah, I think because it's the sense of, oh my goodness, they have given up so many kind of, if you want to put it this way, temporal luxuries here and opportunities here in the States to go to another country, live in conditions usually that are much less than the conditions that they would be living in here. And they can go there. So they're giving up all of this to go serve over here. And again, to either, with living in more modest means, or living in complete poverty, or with a people group that doesn't know Christ or has just come to know Christ, or there's not many Christians there, or they're helping to meet a specific need, there. Mm. And I think all of that kind of creates this sense of, oh my goodness, look what they're doing for Jesus. I think that's the thing, right? Look at what they're doing for Jesus. Isn't this incredible? And I did say earlier that I felt like those who give up need to be honored for that. So I do think that, but simultaneously, do I think that they are a better Christian or more super spiritual because they've done those things? No.
Okay.
But I do have high levels of respect for them.
Okay.
But I will say this too. It's got to be more than just what they go and do, right? It has to be the integrity and the character in which they do it.
Okay.
And that really is when I speak about individuals like Alan Winters and Frank Fortunato, for me, it's not just what they've done, it's the character and the integrity they've gone and served the Lord with. So,
but the church never talks about them like they're doing so much for Jesus. They're like their life sucks. All because Jesus told them to do this, and they're living the shittiest life ever for Christ.
Right.
And that's how they want you to think about it, instead of instead of the good that they're doing, they're like, they
Yeah.
live in a 1x1 mud cube and and they have to sleep standing up and they almost die every day.
Right,
And,
from dysentery.
and then they start shaming you for all of the things that you own at the same time and the nice house that you live in and why
Yeah.
why all that?
Yes. I mean, again, you're not wrong. I mean, and I say you're not wrong because I've been in churches where that is what they're harping on.
Yeah.
Right. They're harping on how much the missionary does not have, how much they've given up,
Yes.
and how selfish and how greedy you are.
Yes. And it all comes back to you and
Right.
and
I've been there. And so I guess this is what I would say is that, like, why do they do
and I'm 6 years old, like I what? Like
I know. And if you're asking, like, why do pastors do that and those kind of things? Because it's often coming from the pulpit, right,
Yes.
up there. So the pastor's like introducing them and they're talking about it this
Yeah.
way. I think there must be some inherent built-in guilt from the pastor of that his ministry doesn't match the ministry of these missionaries.
Oh.
And so I think that there's some inherent guilt within himself.
Hmm.
And if I'm just calling, because I feel like when I was younger, I felt like I probably did some of the similar things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so because, like you go to India and spend 16 days there and you're exposed to kids crawling around in trash piles and you're exposed to, human trafficking that's just happening just in the open,
Okay.
and
well, every
so-
time you come here, I'll beat you up first.
Yeah.
I'll hit you
Well,
with
that'd be-
a stick.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can do the podcast.
Right. Well, and I think that
For Christ.
right for Christ, conference for Christ. And so, I think that that's one of the things that I was guilty of with doing that, because it's like and I think maybe the pastors too, they've been exposed maybe possibly to some of the things, or even if they haven't, they're just like, wow, but look at what all this missionary is doing. So I do think there can be some inherent guilt of I'm not matching them.
Mm.
And so what I'm saying is then they
take it out
that
on
guilt and
on
they
everybody?
project it on everybody.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I do think that's a reality. And so because I remember I
never thought about that.
I was talking to a couple of pastors, and I actually was getting mad that they were not getting what I was saying about the importance of partnering with the global church. Like these guys had never been out of the country. They, their only world is America. And I'm here thinking, as someone who travels a good bit, going, man, y'all need to get y'all need to get a handle on this and da 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 da. And I remember getting mad about it. And then one of them said, Joseph, what I hear from you is guilt, and guilt is not inspiring me to do anything about this.
Oh.
I was like, oh, that is what I'm doing. Because I was like getting mad basically that they weren't grasping, or at least I felt like they were not grasping the need to go and serve in other countries. And the need for local churches here in the States to partner with people in our countries. And what I realized was that instead of guilting people, I needed to inspire people. So I needed to tell the stories, like what you're talking about, of look at what they're doing. Not just talk about how bad you are or how guilty or how greedy you are or no, let's talk about what these missionaries are actually doing and inspire people to want to come alongside and partner with them instead of guilting and shaming people into doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I made that switch, when I made that flip, it was like, okay, this is a better way of doing it, and it doesn't, and part, I think maybe the frustration you have as a pastor and as a shepherd, it's like, you want that switch to happen overnight. You want them immediately like, oh, I got it. Let's go to the mission field, or let's support this missionary, or whatever it may be. Let's talk about the global church all the time. And I realized that that's not going to happen. Like, I have to keep inspiring, keep talking, keep bringing missionaries in to talk and speak about it. And then eventually things will start clicking in people. And they'll go, oh, wow. And it's wild to me because, like, so for example, we had a missionary from Guatemala come and speak a month or two ago. And one of the things that, they were sharing and talking, and I had people come up to me and say, oh, now I get why we go down there. Or now I get why we partner with them financially. Mm-hmm. Now I understand why you have such a heart to partner with this ministry there. And what's interesting is I've had this ministry come and share before without ever having those kind of reactions. But over time, and just me sharing and talking and bringing other missionaries in and hopefully inspiring, hearing stories, it's like, oh, now we get it. Now we understand, and now we want to partner with. But that's so much better doing it that way other than guilting.
Yeah.
And so I do think pastors have got to get over their own guilt of them not maybe doing as much as they think they should be doing, or that they're not giving up as much as this missionary over here is. And that's why we honor and we respect them. But what they're doing is, like, we need the pastors here in the United States too, right? Like, you're not doing anything less spiritual. Or we need the person that's going to go, work the 8 to 5 job, as a electrician, or, as a, or as a school teacher, or, a homeschool mom, or whatever. And like, no, that's like what you're called to. And like, so we celebrate that just like we celebrate this missionary who's coming and speaking, and giving up all, like, everybody has their part. It's all valuable. There doesn't have to be guilt and shame attached to things.
Why are missionaries such weird people?
What do you mean by they're weird?
Why are
people?
they weird?
They're not all weird.
They like even when they come back and to church,
Right.
and hang out, they're just like odd.
Well,
and they're like stay to themselves and
well, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
like, you're a weird guy.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, all right. I'm going to, wow. You really stereotyped a missionary here.
I did.
Like, you did. Like, and no, they're not all like that at all.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. I know missionaries that are extroverted and connecting and not weird and not, I know those that are like over extrovert, like they're like overly friendly. And because they've been in our country,
that's still weird.
Because they've been in our country, like that maybe like in America, right? We have our own personal spaces, like in other words, when we talk and we communicate, there's a certain distance we keep apart.
Yeah, right.
But like if you've been a missionary in our culture where they're talking like this, all of a sudden they may carry that over into coming back, and now they're talking to you like nose to nose, and you're like, what the trash? Why are they talking so close? And so I think there's things.
They come back and kiss you on the lips to say hello, and
or at least on the cheeks they might, and that happens. And I do think that's so I think some of the things that happen is you begin to, acclimate to the culture you're in, and it can be jarring coming back. And part of it can be that there's I know individuals that they come back to the States for kind of, their 2 weeks or whatever it is a year, sometimes 3 weeks a year, to see family, to meet with supporters, those kind of things. And they have a really hard time being back here. And all they can think about is getting back to the mission field because they're having culture shock here. And so sometimes they do get withdrawn when they're not typically that way, because they're really, honest to God, having a hard time with the culture shock coming back. And so I'm, I guess, a lot more gracious to those kind of things. But I will say this too. I know some very eccentric missionaries. And I do think that there's to do some of the things that God asks people to do, you've got to be a little eccentric to be willing to do it. And so you've got to be a little willing to kind of, do crazy stuff,
I don't know what that's like.
I know.
I'm so grounded.
Yeah, just this.
Yeah. Just a steady
rock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Absolutely being tossed in the waves. All right. So
anyway.
Yeah. So I do think there's a lot of different reasons of why missionaries maybe come across the way they do. So I think one, it can be just their personality type. I think two, culture shock coming back is really impacting them. And I think, three, they're learning culture there and trying to figure out how that works back here in the States when they come back. And then, and then four, you don't know all the things that they're experiencing and they've seen, and it literally may change them to some degree.
Yeah, that's part of it too, I think.
Yeah.
Where they come back and they're really passionate about something that nobody knows anything about. And you're like, okay.
Right.
Well,
yeah. That can happen.
Have fun.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, you could be, talking to a missionary and all of a sudden they've become real passionate about this one specific area of water that has this,
right.
like that this particular, village is really dependent on it. And all they can talk about is this body of water.
Right.
And you're thinking, is that it? Like, is that it?
Yeah. And then you're sitting there with your water bottle like, what?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and so like, those things absolutely can happen. And
so get a better government. Why aren't you over there trying to start a revolution against the communists? Like, that seems easier and quicker. And then you won't have to...
Right. Lie about why you're even in the country in the first place.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Conquering for Christ.
Conquering for Christ. See what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just so much... Oh, whatever.
Nate so wants to establish theocracies throughout the world.
Oh.
Ours is better than yours.
Yeah. Oh, this is not good.
No. Yeah. But again, having friends that have either been on the mission field or are on the mission field, no, not everyone's a weirdo.
Okay. We kind of touched on this. But the people who think they're missionaries but aren't, why do they do? Why?
Oh, yeah.
Where'd that come from?
You mean like the people that...
The people that insist to you that they're supposed to be a full-time missionary, they just can't get anyone to fund them.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Like, what's up with those people? Why? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder, like, are people actually helping them connect to the right people, right? One. Like, in other words, if you're, like, let's say you feel called to be a missionary, full-time missionary, but you really don't know how to go about that, right? Well, then hopefully your local church can actually connect you to a mission agency that can help you with that, right?
But I'm talking about the people that come up to you and say, I'm supposed to be a full-time missionary, and you look at them and go, no, you're not. Well, what's up with those people? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know if I've ever been like completely, no, you're not.
Yes, you have.
Okay. This is what I will say. I do think you're right on the sense of the person that, all right, to clarify, here we go.
Let's back up 5 more steps.
Yeah. All right. The person that comes up to me and says, I feel called to be a full-time missionary, and my response is, no, you don't, or no, you're not, is the person that I know will not do anything to actually do it. Like, in other words, they by nature don't have a great work ethic. Oh. They by nature don't have the assertiveness to go connect with because if you're going to go serve in our country, like there's got to be some self-motivation. There's got to be some work ethic. Like you've got to be willing to go and do, right? You can't just have people you can't be dependent on others to just tell you every step of the way to do something. And I feel like it's those types of individuals that are maybe just kind of skating through life. And I think you have those that are like just skating through life, right? Like they just having a hard time getting any kind of groundedness with work and with stability and those kind of things. And then I think you've also got the other camp that's like the super spiritual people. And they're like, they're like super spiritual. Everything is super spiritual. And like, it's almost like they're just waiting for God to wave a magic wand and they'll automatically just be in the other country and going and doing I don't know what, because the very things they talk about wanting to do there, they're not doing here. So why do I have an expectation that you're going to do it any differently there when you're not even doing those things here?
Okay,
So,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know who you're talking about. And for me, those are kind of the two groups.
Okay.
And a lot of times that's one and the same. Like they're super spiritual and they're kind of just floating through life.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like Christian stoners.
Yeah.
With no job.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. A little flighty, a little unsure.
Maybe we'll find Jesus over here.
Right.
Or maybe he's over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One more question.
Okay.
Why do missionaries need to exist when we have the internet and you can just send everyone from Guatemala a link to our podcast?
Okay. That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know who's not getting the link to our podcast in Guatemala? Those that are in the villages.
All right. Well, let's conquer Guatemala and get them phones.
You know who's not getting our podcast are the countries that don't even allow there to be an open internet source.
Well, let's conquer China and get them Japanese phones.
Right. Oh, just to rub it in.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
they'll be so happy they'll take them.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they're not. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So I do hear what you're saying. I do think that's a huge advantage, but then I also know that you may, if you're not speaking English, you're not understanding what we're talking about, right? So I think there's a lot of barriers to that. Although I do think the internet is a really amazing tool, and I do think that it really can be very helpful in a lot of places, but we're naive to think that everyone has the same internet access that we do.
Okay, so in our modern age, is what we're doing right now considered missionary work?
Like what you and I are doing right
yes.
now? No. I would not label it as that.
Okay.
I would label it as
but the podcast is viewable from overseas.
Sure it is.
So
right. But for you and I, we're not having to sacrifice our, living situations to do this podcast. Okay.
I could be using this space for other more personal, selfish reasons.
You could.
Other than attempting to make money on a podcast.
Other than that.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Other than you're writing off every camera you've purchased as a business expense,
That's what I'm saying. Right. We should reorganize. We should reorganize the company into a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's not. No, because I mean, like what we're doing, is providing a conversation, right? That's what we're doing
for Christ,
of course, and nothing wrong with that. That's fine
for people overseas.
Is this mission? No, our goal is not to reach the lost overseas in the deep parts of the Amazon. That's not our goal.
But we could
if they had internet access.
Go read the comments.
Right. So I do think that
Starlink's available everywhere.
Yeah. So
at this point,
yeah, it's everywhere. No, we're not missionaries, Nate.
So let's get them phones.
But I appreciate you trying to convert us into missionaries, but we're not missionaries.
I think we're missionaries.
Nope. I think we're two guys talking. That's
for Christ.
For Christ, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But he keeps saying that as if it's automatically going to make us a nonprofit. Yeah.
For Christ.
Right. All right. You just think you put for Christ at the end of anything. Conquering.
So what is this then?
For Christ.
What are we doing? Is this not, if this isn't, because this is part of the question,
yeah. Okay.
We're
to me,
Jesusing something.
To me.
For somebody.
Right. To me, I think I would hope that the podcast is really like a discipleship platform. And what I mean by that is there are people that have questions about their faith or have deconstructed their faith or just are unsure about church or whatever it may be. And so they're listening to us, and hopefully we're discipling them toward Christ or helping them move toward Christ. There's people that are listening to our podcast that are already believers, and hopefully they're being strengthened in their faith. And so, and then there's those that are listening to us, and they're going to come to know Christ, right? I mean, we've already had some encounters with individuals who, we've been able to kind of really talk to and this kind of thing. So cool. But my point just being is that's not, like, we're not missionaries. Like, we're not doing missionary work. We're just talking about Jesus, and and that's a good thing, but it's not what I would call missionary work.
Is what we're doing just as valuable as missionary work?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
All right, we can keep everything the same then.
Yeah.
For Christ.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because everyone has a call. Not everyone is called to go be a missionary. And so we still have value in what we do.
Well, I have a fun calling if this is my calling.
Yep. You're enjoying it?
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah. For Christ.
For Christ.
I'm enjoying it for Christ.
Amen. Me too. It's good stuff.
Cool. All right. So next week is missions trips.
Mission trips. Yep.
Which are mini vacations for teenagers.
It can be.
And which is different than being a missionary.
Very different than being a missionary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes.
Yeah. And that might be 2 episodes, but it might not be, because I feel like we covered a lot of
I think we kind of hit the pros and the cons of mission trips.
Yes.
And which ones are legitimate and which ones are pretty sketchy to be calling a mission trip.
Well, this has been the When I Heard This podcast. You can follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at When I Heard This podcast, and X and locals at When I Heard This. Ring the notification bell, tell everyone that you know about the show, and go to the website where there's t-shirts. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nate Robinsoff, and you can follow Joseph on Instagram at
Rev Joe T.
This has been the When I Heard This podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.